I'm Morris Jones with breaking news out of Fairfax County. A police officer has been arrested in connection to child pornography found in his home. A press conference just wrapped up moments ago. Police say Bud Walker has been an officer for the county since 1999 and was placed under arrest this evening. Investigators say they found graphic images involving children at his home and on his computer. Walker is being held without bond. We'll provide updates as we get more information here on News Channel 8. Happening now, a major security scare along the National Mall as a suspicious aircraft lands only feet away from the steps of the Capitol building. A man identified as a postal worker from Florida lands his gyrocopter on the west lawn. Tonight we're learning what the pilot was planning to do as questions are being asked over how such a major security breach could happen. Senior political reporter Scott Thuman was near the Capitol as it all unfolded.
A surreal scene at the U.S. Capitol. A man flying a small helicopter lands on the west lawn. Police quickly surround it, pulling the pilot away, searching and handcuffing him.
It came in very low. And I mean, when I looked at it, I was like, this guy is going to go into the pond. And then he just flew right across the road and ended up on the Capitol lawn.
I couldn't believe it, actually, because any kind of aircraft flying here at all, especially that low, was unusual. Everybody was pretty shocked when it flew over and when it landed.
Tourists taking group photos just feet away say that's what alarmed them most.
It was very low. It was about the height of the light poles here.
The U.S. Post Office markings on the gyrocopter causing even more confusion.
At first, we just thought it was very odd, but then, of course, when we saw the squadrons of police converging on the guy, then we got a little concerned that there might be explosives or something on board, and then we all left the area.
The pilot, a Florida postal carrier identified as Doug Hughes, was reportedly trying to protest what he called campaign finance corruption. The goal, deliver 535 letters to all members of Congress expressing his anger.
But it's not a very smart way to demonstrate, I don't think.
Scenarios like this always prompt the what-if questions. What if this was some sort of attack? Homeland Security Chairman Michael McCall said had the pilot gotten any closer to the actual Capitol building, authorities were prepared to shoot it down. On Capitol Hill, Scott Thuman, News Channel 8.
Most of what we know is courtesy of the Tampa Bay Times, which identified the pilot as 61-year-old Doug Hughes from Florida. We've been investigating his background, and it seems Hughes' role with this reform group we found on the web is a likely motivation. Hughes was a postal worker with no serious record dating back at least 20 years.
But he thought if I do a stunt big enough, I can get people's attention, get people to think about this, about corruption in government, about how corporations can buy elections.
We could not find an active FAA certificate for Hughes, but we don't know if he needed one. The Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association says if that gyrocopter weighs less than 254 pounds, Hughes wouldn't need a license to fly it. Right now, problems on Metro's Green Line and Mark Rail after a pedestrian bridge collapse. It happened between the College Park and Greenbelt stations in Maryland, and amazingly, nobody was hurt. Roz Plater has the latest from Berwyn Heights.
All right, well, it is still quite a mess here and probably will be for hours to come. Take a look. You can see why that piece of construction equipment that struck that portion of the pedestrian bridge is still in place. Now, here's what we know about what happened. Just before 3 o'clock this afternoon, we're told the contractor was moving that rail crane that you see down the track that they're building, a test track for the 7000 series of the Metro train. For some reason, the boom portion of that crane was still up in the air, and it struck the pedestrian bridge overhead. That meant a massive slab of concrete came crashing down onto the Metro tracks. Fortunately, nobody was on the bridge at the time. There were no trains underneath at the time, so there were no injuries in all of this. But the pedestrian bridge is damaged, and they're checking to see whether or not there is damage or what kind of damage there might be to the track. So that will take quite a while. In the meantime, Metro service is interrupted between College Park and Greenbelt. There are shuttle buses taking folks from one location to the other. What we have seen in just the past few minutes or so is trains, CSX and MARC trains traveling on the section of track that is closest to us here. So that is back up and running after a temporary suspension when they wanted to check the bridge out beforehand. In the meantime, we don't know how long it will be before service is restored here. They'll be working here into the night, we're told, and they promised to give us an update later tonight as to what the conditions will be here for the morning commute. But again, a significant interruption for the rush hour commute, as just as folks are trying to get home, at least the folks who are on the Green Line. And again, they're still investigating exactly why all of this happened here. For now, we are in College Park. I'm Roz Plater, News Channel 8.
And developing now in Potomac, that's where 2 private school buses were involved in an accident along River Road. Police say 1 driver and 2 students are being checked out, but their injuries are not considered life-threatening. Turning now to the weather and a welcome break from the rain today. Will it stay nice through the weekend? Meteorologist Devin Lucy's here with the answer. Devin?
Well, right now all the confidence is the first half of this weekend. Looking great, but it might be that second part of it where we've got some rain, but maybe that rain's pushing later now towards next week. We'll cover it in our complete forecast by FHFIR, but right now, mid to upper 60s. The high temperatures today didn't hit 70s. It's cloud cover. It was around today. Real-time temps still showing lower to mid 60s. And speaking of that cloud cover, National Harbor looking back west the Capitol Wheel. Here's a look at that cloud cover in the distance. A little bit of sun peering through, but clouds up really high in the sky, generally maybe 4 to 5 miles up high, but did a good job of blocking some of that sun. So it's the time of the year. Got a late fall or early fall, and it's mid-late spring. Just like this, you get a bunch of sunshine, temps up, but you got cloud cover or you get rain, and that holds temperatures way down like what was in Charlotte, North Carolina today. Leading warm front in the next system, so the center of which is still way out west into the mid-south. It's actually going to go north, but it could be the effect of the warm front first to bring a chance of rain. It's not until Thursday night into Friday. Tomorrow's a cloud cover situation. It's a lot like today, but there's a look into this Saturday looking great at this time. We'll go through that weekend forecast and the lead up to that in our complete outlook presented by FHFIR in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks, Devin. Across the country, thousands of protesters chose tax day to call for higher wages. Protest organizers are demanding a $15 minimum wage. In some cities, fast food workers walked off the job to take part. There were also demonstrations on many college campuses. Flags at the White House have been lowered to half staff. It's to honor President Lincoln. President Obama ordered the flags lowered to mark 150 years since Lincoln's assassination. Meantime, it's veto day in Virginia. The General Assembly has returned to Richmond to work on bills that Governor Terry McAuliffe either vetoed or wants amendments to. Among the considerations are tighter gift caps when it comes to an ethics bill. The governor wants an overall $100 limit, but lawmakers want to allow $100 per gift. An update to a story we brought you earlier this week about officials in Botetourt County choosing to count primary votes by hand. Today, the Virginia State Board of Elections has decertified the electronic voting systems that led to those concerns. Wind vote machines will no longer be used in the Commonwealth. Governor Terry McAuliffe ordered an investigation into the systems after voting irregularities during the November general election. A report says the system's wireless capability makes it susceptible to a security breach. Prosecutors say he stalked his victims at beer pong tournaments, and today, a Montgomery County man learned his fate after being dubbed the beer pong rapist. Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell is in Rockville with an update in the case.
Prosecutors claimed and the judge agreed 40-year-old Joey Poindexter is among the worst, most prolific rapists in the history of Montgomery County.
He hunted human beings.
Poindexter, in the words of the state, devoted his life to playing beer pong with college-aged men, looking for victims, befriending them, getting them drunk. The security video captures Poindexter in action, leading an 18-year-old clearly intoxicated young man out of a College Park bar. That victim taken to Poindexter's home in Gaithersburg to be assaulted again and again. He had the courage to go to police. They recorded this call between the victim and Poindexter.
No matter what did happen or didn't happen, like I said, I was pretty trash.
That audio helped lead to a conviction in February on multiple assault charges. The charge of rape technically doesn't apply to a male-on-male crime. State's Attorney John McCarthy says Poindexter deserves every minute of his 150-year sentence.
An individual who I think clearly is a vile, evil, depraved predator.
Poindexter served as his own lawyer during trial. Today, lawyer Rebecca Nitkin appeared with him. She plans an appeal.
And because the state cheated, now those victims are going to have to testify again.
Brad Bell, News Channel 8.
A D.C. couple is in the hospital after an early morning row house fire in Southeast.
Oh my gosh.
A neighbor's cell phone video shows flames coming from a second-floor bedroom. Firefighters arrive within a minute of the 911 call and rescue the 2 people inside. One person is in critical condition, the other in serious condition. There's no word on what sparked the fire. Smoke and flames damaged this home in southwest Washington. Investigators say the fire started in the attic of a home on Rittenhouse Street. Crews managed to contain most of the damage to the attic. There were no injuries. And fire damaged several units at the Streamside Apartments in Gaithersburg this morning. Authorities say the fire started in the kitchen of a first-floor apartment. Several residents were treated on the scene for smoke inhalation. The Red Cross is helping residents who were displaced by the fire. Almost every day, it seems, there's a video posted of a police officer responding to a call, sometimes depicting a graphic scene. So how are these images impacting the public trust when it comes to police? Brianne Carter takes a look.
I think it's a symptom of the times. There's just a lot of cameras and a lot of videos.
Some now say the flood of police images is making it more dangerous for the people trying to protect and serve.
But what it's caused is for people to challenge, and not necessarily challenge in court or to challenge was the police officer right or wrong, but to physically challenge, which is a negative and dangerous thing for people to do when you encounter police officers.
D.C. Police Union President Delroy Burton says it's causing a shift in trust for people who almost never encounter the police.
When you see that stuff constantly and you don't get balance, you don't get the full information about what goes on, it tends to degrade their trust in policing as an institution.
My feelings have changed. I think it does change people's, the general public's feelings of things.
Anthony Sampson says he sees that growing mistrust in other places, but not here locally.
Not at all. I pass through these streets. Majority of the police officers, I've either seen them before, either I know them, so I don't have to worry about that whatsoever.
What about others in our region?
We hope it would be case by case, city by city.
As I got older and years go by, I still feel a little more comfortable now.
Brianne Carter, News Channel 8.
As for that issue of body cameras in the district, Mayor Muriel Bowser says she wants cameras for 2,800 officers. But she's proposing language that would prevent media organizations and the public from getting copies of those videos. She says the city can't afford to have someone edit the videos for privacy. Councilman Kenyon McDuffie doesn't agree with the mayor. He's calling for a public hearing on the issue. Today marks 2 years since the Boston Marathon bombing. We'll take a look at how the city remembered that tragic day and their plans to move forward. Plus, a live look over Washington. Skies were mostly cloudy today. Will things improve for the rest of the week? Devin Lucy's got the full forecast next.